Okay, I can see a lot of people have joined us, so I think it's time to get started. Look, firstly, I appreciate you taking the time out to join me today on this Autodesk Construction Cloud or ACC Docs webinar, Getting Started with Autodesk Docs. During the webinar, we're going to look at how Autodesk Docs connects data, workflows, and teams seamlessly with a live product demonstration and with some supporting slides. This webinar is part of the Autodesk Construction Cloud series that we at VinZero A2K Technologies have been running. If you've missed any of the previous webinars, you can find them under the VinZero A2K YouTube channel, and this webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube in the coming days. So the agenda for the webinar, first I'm going to give you a quick introduction to who we are at VinZero A2K Technologies. Then we're going to talk a bit about the benefits of Autodesk Docs. For those people who haven't had any exposure to Autodesk Construction Cloud, I'll give you a quick overview of the entire platform and how Docs is integrated with that platform. From there, we'll jump in, we'll look at document management within the system. We'll look at document versions, how we create markups, issue tracking, 2 and 3D support, document approvals and transmittals. Then we'll look at how we then report on all of this information with both custom schedule reports and dashboards. I'll talk to you a little bit about the Autodesk Desktop Connector, and I will open up for questions at the end. We do have all participants muted, but any questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. So to introduce myself, my name's Mike Kane. I'm a technical consultant within VinZero A2K Technologies, focusing exclusively on Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. At VinZero A2K Technologies, we're a solutions organization that fosters innovation through delivering software and hardware solutions, consulting, training, development, and managed services. We've become a trusted technology advisor to our customers through the breadth and depth of our service offerings and technical expertise, our commercial flexibility, and high level of customer service and understanding. Locally, we have offices all around Australia and New Zealand, and globally in the US, UK, and India. We total over 550 staff and have 32 offices around the globe, covering 25 languages. We're one of the largest Autodesk Platinum partners globally, and a very much trusted advisor to the companies that we work with. We also partner with vendors such as Microsoft, HP, Lenovo, etc. I myself am located in the inner west of Sydney. I have the privilege to live, work and operate on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I thank them and I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. For those in New Zealand, I'd like to pay my respect to the traditional custodians of those lands, the Maori people. It's an amazing privilege to live on country that has been cared for by the traditional custodians for more than 60,000 years, and I thank them for that privilege. Autodesk Docs is the underlying document management platform or common data environment, often called a CDE, within Autodesk Construction Cloud. The Autodesk Docs module allows team members to have access to the information they need, as well as providing a solution to cloud-level document control, document versioning, and document approvals. All project information is stored within Autodesk Docs, and all users and the other modules within the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform can leverage this information. This all feeds into this emerging methodology of what we call connected construction workflows. Before we dive into Docs, I think it's important to overview the entire Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, especially for those who haven't had the opportunity to look at the platform in the past. Autodesk Construction Cloud is a full unified platform that connects workflows, teams, and data at every stage of construction, with the idea that it reduces risk, maximizes efficiency, and increases profits. The construction industry is one of the oldest industries to date. It's an industry that's also been very slow at adopting technology and digitizing. With the volatility and global economic pressures we currently face, it's imperative that the organizations dive deep into the information and data through the project life cycle, in order to make smarter, better informed decisions to drive returns and increase profits. Supply chain disruptions, material shortages, and labor costs increases are currently unavoidable, Autodesk Construction Cloud has a huge investment in acquisition and development to bring a unified platform to the market with a first of its kind linking design through pre-construction, construction, and then through to the handover, all in one end-to-end system. Today, obviously, we'll be focusing on Autodesk Docs, but if anyone would like to explore any of the other elements of the platform, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. At the end of this presentation, I will be sharing an email address that you can contact one of us to arrange a one-on-one demonstration, to ask any questions, and to have a look at any other tools within the platform. The value of Autodesk Construction Cloud is really around connecting teams, connected workflows, and connected data. So when we look at the system, it's a centralized document management system for the entire duration of the project, from design, pre-construction, construction to handover. Whether it's just at a document level where you're just sharing files, creating issues, markups, it becomes a foundational area to keep all of your design documentation, including Revit, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Plant 3D, as well as things like Office documents, all in a live, fully version controlled environment. 2 and 3D design publishing means that you can use this tool as a universal viewer. The system currently supports viewing for well over 70 different file types from all of the leading authoring tools. Docs is a built-in comparison tool, which essentially makes the system function like a digital light table, as well as issues, markups, approvals, approval workflows, reports, and analytics. And we're going to be looking at all of this in a high level as we go on. So enough of the slides. Let's jump into the system and have a quick look at the system. So for those people who haven't seen Autodesk Construction Cloud or Docs in the past, I'll just give you a quick overview of the interface itself. Firstly, in the top right here, you'll see the logged in user. Okay, here's where you can change some of your profile settings. Depending on permissions, you can adjust notification settings. Okay, we have a little help question mark here. This leads us to all of the help files. It leads us to videos in the Learning Center, and you can contact support. Really, really good, useful information within this little question mark. Across to the left, we have the project picker. Okay, and this is where we determine which project we want to be working in at the time. And then to the far left, this column here is what we call the product picker. And this is where you see a list of all of the products you're licensed for, or that you've been given permission to access, depending on your role type, depending on what you do within the organization. When we jump into Docs, we land on the Files tab. Okay, and here you see your folder structure. Okay, this is a fully customized folder structure. I've currently got this set up for those people who have undertaken that journey to ISO 19650. You'll recognize this folder structure, including a work in progress, shared, published, and archive folders. But we can fully customize this to your organization's requirements, including creating all of our subfolders. If we click on the 3 little dots to the right here, this is where we can be adding subfolders, we can be sharing information, we can be downloading the source files, we can even submit for reviews, create transmittals here. But I think most importantly, this is where we determine who can see and access what within this folder structure. When we bring on new users, we merely enter names, email addresses. We can then assign permissions via roles or companies. Okay, and roles are really important within the system. Basically, we create role types and assign permissions to different disciplines, different job functions. And then as we bring in new users, they automatically inherit those permissions. So really simplifying the admin. Once we've added those users, we then determine what they can do. You know, do we want them just to be able to view only the files? Do we want them to be able to view, download, publish markups and upload? Or do we want to give them full control, even right up to full administrative control? But so we can be really granular with what people can do and see within the system. When we look within our folders, We can see here we have our file name. We can see that this particular file has some published and private markups on. Has it been shared? What version of the document are we looking at? What size? Whole bunch of good information here, but we can actually customize this by going to the cog at a user level. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of different columns here. We can be turning columns off and on. We can be reordering these columns just by dragging them around. And this is done at a user level. And the beauty of this is once you customize this view to expose all the information that's most meaningful to you, this customization stays persistent. So next time you jump into the system, you will see this custom view, but you can still change it. Excuse me. We're currently looking at list view, but we also have a grid view. People that use this system end up with thousands of documentation within the system. So obviously, powerful search functionality is really important. We can be searching across current folders, all folders, subfolders. We can search across the content of vector-based PDFs. We can search via the different file types. And as we're importing new file types within the system, you will see this list constantly grows. We can also be searching via the different versions and even by the review status. We can enforce naming standards for your files, and the system comes with this default ISO 19650 naming standard, but we can fully customize this to meet your current naming standard. The beauty of this is it means that when users upload files to the system, if they don't adhere to the naming convention of your organization, they'll get a notification highlighting those areas that need to be changed. If they choose to upload the files and not make those changes, then the files will land in this holding area, which only the project admins have access to. As you can see here, we've got a notification that there's one file sitting in here. So the project admin comes in, selects the files, and this can be done in bulk. So you can be doing multiple files at once. Once those changes have been made and this file then adheres to your company naming standard, the files will automatically be pushed to their original intended target folders. The project admin also has the ability to determine if you're going to allow public links to be shared for sheets and files. Okay, they can simply turn off or on this access, and they can set the expiry for these links. Anything from 30 days right up to 365 days. Here I'm just sitting with the default 90 days. From a user perspective, I'll show you how that looks. Okay, so we can just select a couple of files here, go up to our three dots, and then select share. Okay, we automatically land on the share with project members with view-only access or higher. We can choose to share the current version at the time the recipient opens, or we can share the current version at the time of sharing. We then decide who we're going to send it to, be it users, roles, or companies, and we can add a note. If you want to share these links directly from your own email account, you can merely select the links, or you can copy them all, add them to your own email account, and send them out. We can also share with people outside of the environment. When we do that, we've got the ability to determine the link expiry. So we can determine how long this link is going to be active. Again, do we want to share the current version at the time the recipient opens, or at the time of sharing? We can be emailing directly from the system, including custom notes, or we could be copying the links to send them with our email, from our own personal email. We can also share information between projects really simply and easily. We just select a particular project we want to share this information with, select a particular folder that we want to push this information to, and the system will automatically share that information. I'm going to just jump back into my slides again. Okay, so document versioning is super important. It keeps everyone on the same page with the most reliable version controls, and it means that all users have the ability to access the latest version of all of the designs, all of the documentation, in an attempt to reduce the amount of rework you need to do and ensure that the project is as profitable as it can be. Autodesk Docs comes with unlimited document storage, and it retains the full version of all these documents, drawings, and models. We can also compare sheets or versions to quickly understand those changes between versions. We'll jump into the system and we'll have a look at how that looks. Okay, so when we're back in the system here, okay, we can see that for this particular model, so we have LTU architecture Revit model in here, and it has 3 versions of this model. So when we select that V3, it opens up a list of all versions. So we can see current version and all of the historic versions. We can make the older versions current, and we can also do comparisons of the model here. So when we select compare, opens up this dialog box. We can be changing the versions we want to be looking at. And then we select compare. Basically what this does is this overlays the 2 models that we've selected. And you'll notice too, we have full access to a Revit model here without the need for a Revit license, which is great. Not quite sure, but I guess this proves it's a live demonstration. Not sure why my model's showing up yellow here, but that's something I'll look at later. When we look at the model, we can see there's been 1 element added to it. Nothing's been removed. And we've got in excess of 10,000 modifications, but we can turn these off and on. When we look for this particular object that's been added, we can just select that object. And what that does is that just zooms us into that object so we can get an understanding of exactly where in the model it sits, add a bit of information. So really quickly and easily enables us to understand those design changes. When we look at a 2D sheet, actually, sorry, let me just, this is the one I did want to show you. We can see we have 2 versions here. The current version is also sitting in review. We get notification of that. But when we compare the versions, what we'll see from a 2D design perspective, the system essentially functions as a digital light table. So what it's doing is it's overlaid those 2 designs, okay? Any of the areas in the design that there are no changes, you'll see in black. Any of the previous versions changes will be highlighted in blue, and any of the new changes in red. So we can easily see here that we've added a couple of walls and we've added a couple of doors to this particular design. We can also change from overlay mode to side-by-side mode. And this really allows us to identify the evolution of changes within this particular design. Okay, so we'll jump in and we'll talk about markups for a second, and then I'll show you our markup tools within the system. Okay, so document markups, the system does come with a really good set of basic markup tools to help you communicate and collaborate with project teams. This ensures that people can be making markups on the designs themselves, adding a whole lot of good information to these markups. But let's jump into the system and I'll show you how our markups work. We have in this particular PDF, we can see we have some published and private markups. So I'll jump in and we'll have a look at them. When the page opens, you'll see down the bottom of the page, we have the standard navigation tools you'd expect. We can also be doing measurements. So we can be measuring distance, angles, areas, and arcs directly here on this sheet. And across to the left, we have our markup tools. Okay, all the tools you'd expect. So we have pen highlighter. We have a range of different shapes we can be using for markups. We can be adding text. We have cloud, call out, and polyline and polygon tool. We also have the issues, and I think the name issues is slightly deceiving because this relates not just to issues, but different tasks. The system comes with a whole bunch of pre-configured categories and types, but we can also create custom categories and types, and I'll show you that in a second. one of the latest releases to the system is to enable us to create issue templates as well. We're pre-configuring a whole bunch of information, just speeding up people's workflows by eliminating having to fill out a lot of information. And we'll look at that in a second. We can also be attaching photos, and we strongly recommend, with unlimited data storage, photograph everything, all the befores and afters. But if we jump into a particular, I've just selected my polygon tool. If we jump into a particular issue here, just to show you, it is a live demonstration. When we select on the issue, it opens the issue dialog box. Okay, here we can see that this issue has been published, although at a click of a button, we can make it a private issue that only the users or the project admins can see. We obviously want to give that issue a title. We want to give it a status. Is it open, pending, and review closed? And this is really powerful from a reporting perspective. We're then assigning it to a category and a type. We give the issue a description and who we're going to assign this issue, be it to a particular company, a particular role type, or to a particular user. This is a safety issue, so we've assigned it to health and safety. We can assign watchers, and a watcher is basically someone who doesn't need to take any action on issues, but would want to keep visibility over the issue. So they get notification and visibility, although they don't need to take any action. Our location is based on our location breakdown structure of this particular project. We can also add details about the location. Very importantly, we're assigning start dates and we're assigning due dates. We can also assign a root cause, and we can add a whole bunch of reference material here just to help speed up the action on resolving these issues or undertaking the tasks. Here you can see I have a photo, I have a document, but there's a whole bunch of additional references, and depending on the tool sets, we can integrate it with we can be assigning or referencing schedules, RFIs, assets, submittals, and even potential change orders out of the cost module. But that is a little bit beyond what today's webinar is about. We can also mention people in the comments, so they will get an automatic notification when these issues are created. As issues are changing, as they're changing from published to private as well, the color is changing them. So you can easily identify what is a published issue and what is a private issue within the system. Okay, so now let's look at issue tracking. So we've created a bunch of issues on this particular sheet, but we need to be able to visualize all of the issues across a project. This increases accountability and helps us track and resolve issues from a single centralized list. So we'll jump in and have a look at that. Okay, so we're going to go to the product picker here, and then we're going to go down to issues. Okay, and this opens our issues register. But before we look at our list of issues here, I just want to run through some of the settings that are available to us. As mentioned, the system comes with a lot of pre-configured issue categories and issue types, although we can create our own custom categories and our own custom types. We can create custom fields, okay, giving the field a title, selecting what type of field we want, and then a description. Super importantly, permissions. So we have the ability to determine who can do and what within our issues. Again, via individuals, roles, or companies, but we choose the permission level. Do we want to allow people to only create for their own company? Do we want to allow them to create issues for other companies? Or do we want to give them full manage issues permission where they can create, view, and edit any of the fields for any of the issues? Super important here. We can see the different categories that we have. We can see all of the individuals that belong to this particular role type and what permissions they have been assigned. We can also change them here as well. We can create root causes, again, via category and via the root cause itself. And as mentioned, we can create issue templates. And just to give you an understanding, Autodesk currently release bi-monthly updates to the system. These could be anything from huge new features, functionality, to small enhancements. And the latest release went out literally within the last week. And one of those things was these that was added with these issue templates. The templates are great. We give them a title, okay, and then we can predetermine what the status is. We then decide which category and type this belongs to. We can pre-fill the description. We can automatically be assigning it to individuals, roles, or companies. We can add watches, locations, and even root cause. So when users go to create an issue, they have the ability to utilize one of these templates where a lot of that information is pre-filled for them, just meaning less manual intervention, less data that needs to be inputted. So I've just jumped back into our issues register. And here we see we have a list of a lot of issues here. Currently got a filter turned on, but I'll turn that off so we can see all of our issues. We get the title, we're automatically, or the system's automatically generating an ID for us. We can see what the status is and we can filter via the status. We see what category it belongs to, what type of issue it is, and who this issue is assigned to. We can also see what sheet or document this issue relates to, and this hyperlinks directly to take us to that issue on that particular document. We can see due dates, and similar to files, we have the ability to change views, add columns, reorder them, just to help you get the most meaningful data you need. We have really powerful filter capabilities. We can be filtering down on the different categories, the different types, the different statuses. We can filter down to see who they're assigned to, who are the watches, start, due dates, root causes, all that sort of good stuff. What I've done is I've just filtered down on open and pending issues, and this enables us to create a quick report. So the system's automatically filtered out for those issues we want to be looking at, and then we can export those issues. And when we export those issues, it'll give us a nice quick report that we can pass on to other people or use to pull out that meaningful information that we want. All right, so just jumping back into my slides here. As you've seen from what I've shown you so far, there's full support for both 2D and 3D models and designs within the system. We can seamlessly upload them, view them both in 2D drawings and 3D models, and this ensures that all the teams have right information at their fingertips. I'm going to jump back into the system and we're going to look at how we can leverage that. So I've just gone back into files and I'm going to open up that 3D Revit model again, LTU architecture, so we can have a look at that. And you know, the design changes have come in, you might have done a comparison with those designs, and you want to sort of better understand the design intent. What we can do with this 3D model, we can see we've got a 3D model here, but we can see all of the 2D sheets that relate to this model. A couple of other things I didn't show you. We can be filtering down on the particular levels. We can look at any issues that are on this model, and also we can filter down via the various elements in this model. But if we jump back to our sheets view, we can, if we're looking at some of these changes and we're really trying to understand the design intent, we can select this particular sheet. We can then drop this pin down here, determine which angle we want to be viewing in the model. And then when we select it, what it's going to do is, firstly, it's going to show us our navigation controls. Okay, this automatically comes up by default, but you can also turn it off. When you understand what those changes is, or what those changes are, we're dropped directly into the model with that view that we want to look at. So we can move around the model, really get to understand, what the changes are, what the design intent is, and, combining that with our comparison tool becomes very, very powerful. It's really helping us to understand and visualize that design intent. Okay, so beyond keeping, sharing, marking up files, document approvals or reviews are super important, and they feed off to transmittals. As documents come in, we need to ensure that we can facilitate, control, and automate the review and distribution of project drawings, models, and other documentation. A lot of people that I'm speaking to, and to be honest, it's the vast majority, all of their review processes, all of their transmittals are just done via email. They'll be attaching a bunch of files, maybe creating a zip file, attaching that to an email, and they send it off, cross their fingers, and hope that somebody actions these reviews. Within the system, though, we have fully customize and automate that review and distribution of the project drawings, models, and other documentation. And from a transmittal perspective, we're making sure the right information gets into the right hands with formal notices. Transmittals offer you that granular control over information with a top-down visibility on document activity. And so let's jump in and have a look at that within the system. So I've just jumped in, and I do, for time's sake, I have a bunch of tabs open here. But, to navigate here, you're in Docs and you just jump into reviews, and then you land on the review register, or list of all of the reviews within this particular project. Before we look at the user experience of reviews, let's look at how we create these custom workflows for the review process. So if we go to create approval workflows, you'll see here we have the ability to do anything from a single step review up to a 6-step approval process. We can also have group reviews at various stages through these processes. If we look at this 3-step review, we obviously want to give it a name, description, but we can see, so this review process, it starts with an initiator, goes to a first level of a review, second level of a review, and then into final review. Once those documents are approved, they go back to the initiator. We're predetermining the users or the role types or companies that can initiate the reviews, who's responsible for that first level of review, second level of review, and final approval. We're able to allocate timeframes for these review processes to take place, and users get notifications when they need to action a review, or if a review goes beyond its due date. We can ask every member to review, or we can suggest the minimum number of reviewers at any one of the stages here. When we go through the process, we obviously have review statuses, okay? And these are the default statuses that come with the system: approved, rejected, approved with comments, but we can also create our own custom statuses. For those people, again, that are undertaking that journey to ISO 19650, you know that it's super important for intelligent routing of data. To go back to my folder structure, your documents come into a work in progress folder, they then go out to review, and they'd be pushed into the shared folder. And we can automatically do that by selecting, copying these reviews to another folder. We can then determine which folder we want to push these approved documents to. We can also update attributes and custom notes. And all of this is pre-configured in the system. There is no limit to the amount of different review workflows you can configure. So from a user perspective, let's look at how that looks. Okay, so I'm going to jump in. We've got an open review here, and this is the 3-step review that we just looked at. So when it loads up, we can see who initiated it. We can see when the first level of review was complete. We can see second level, and then we can see it's in final review. We're actually also given a notification highlighting the fact that this particular review has gone past its due date. We can see all of the files that are part of this review package. We can see the location of the files, any comments, descriptions, the versions, markups. We also have a full review progress log, so we can see exactly who's been involved and when they've been involved in this process. So once that review process is complete, then that feeds into our transmittals. Okay, so if I jump into the transmittal tab, transmittals, super easy and nice within the system. It's really about getting the right information into the right hands. When we create a transmittal, we just open up our file navigation, go down to our particular files, select whichever files we want as part of this transmittal. We then give the transmittal a name. We determine who we're going to send this out to. Permissions, do we want to let them see all recipients, or do we only want to enable them to see themselves? Okay, and then all of the documents plus obviously a custom message. Really nice and simple and feeds perfectly off that review process. Okay, so just jumping back into my slides here. Okay, so we've now got a bunch of data within the system. We've uploaded a whole bunch of 3D design, 3D models, 2D designs, created a whole bunch of markups, reviews, and the like. But we need to be able to visualize all of this information. And there's multiple ways we can do that. We can do it through the quick reports that I showed you earlier, via our filtering and export capabilities. We can do it through customized schedule reports and also through our dashboards. So I'll jump in. I'm not going to go back and show you the quick reports. I think you've seen that enough, but we'll jump back into the system and we'll look at our reports, our custom scheduled reports, and then we'll look at dashboards. Okay, so when you jump into the reports module, okay, you'll see we have a report log, okay, which tracks the progress of all of our reports, and we have our report templates. And the system does come with a few default customizable templates, but it's very easy for us to create our own reports from scratch. I'm going to show you this report. It's a very simple one, but I think super important. And this is us reporting on safety issues that are in any of the open states for the lifetime of this particular project. So our first filter is when they were created, and our date range is the lifetime of this project. And then we're filtering down by our status. Okay, so here we only want to look at any of the open statuses, be it open, pending, or in review. We don't care about closed safety issues. We can automatically attach a cover page, table of contents, sheet overviews, custom fields, photos, and comments. We're also we can also set a schedule on these reports. So we have the ability to decide, do we want to send these out weekly or monthly? What day of the week do we want to send them out on? What time of the day? What's the start and end date for this report? Who do we want to share them with within the environment? But we can also share them with people who are external of your environment, because Autodesk don't expect you to license somebody just so they can view a report. So we can add email addresses here, and they will automatically receive these reports when they're generated according to your schedule. When we look here too, we can see the schedules that are being pre-configured. So this report's going out every Wednesday at 8 a.m. from the 20th of July, 2022 through to January 21st, 2023. As these reports are automatically generated, you'll see they're listed in the report log here. So we have the title, we have what type of report it is, when it was run, who it was created by, source template, and the schedule. You'll notice we have a few notifications here of reports. These notifications aren't saying that the system was unable to generate the report. What they're actually telling us is that during this reporting period, there were no new items to add to this report. Therefore, to filter the noise, the system's already said, we've tried to run the report, there's no new data, therefore we're not going to send out this report. But gives you really good information or really good understanding of the reports and when they've been sent out, who they've gone to. So it just jumped back in, and now I'm going to, sorry, there was one other thing I wanted to show you before we jump into Desktop Connector. Apologies for that. So I mentioned insights. Well, actually, two other things I want to show you. Apologies. So one is a report. So this is the report, the safety report that we just looked at. We've got an automatically created cover page. You can see here we have 80 line items within this report. We have a full table of contents, which hyperlinks to all of the safety issues. When we click on one of these links, we're automatically routed down and given all of the information on this particular issue. Okay, so we've got the ID, we've got the status, the category and type it belongs to. We've got an overview of where this issue resides on this particular sheet. And then we've got information on it. A little bit concerning that this issue is 84 days late, but we've got a lot of good highlighted information. And we also have the ability to hyperlink directly to the issue on the sheet for further inspection if needed. So beyond our reporting capabilities, we're going to go into the Insights tool. Okay, and even though Insights sits separately to Docs, it is a default part of the Docs licensing. So when we jump into Insights, this is really our dashboard tool. So this is taking our reporting to the next level. The system comes with some pre-configured customizable templates. We can also create our own dashboards. But here I'm just looking at my dashboard. I see the project address. We're automatically pulling in the weather from the job site or from the project address. We can look at all project RFIs. We can be filtering down. So we're just looking at ours. There's a whole lot of really good, meaningful information that we can pull in from the system here and really get to understand the status of the project at a glance. We can also come over to customize here, and this gives us the ability to add cards to this particular dashboard. You'll see at the top here, they're broken down into all different types, including issues, safety, quality, reviews, etc. Construction IQ is a great one. This is utilizing AI or artificial intelligence to do predictive analysis based on the data, so that you can determine, how healthy this project is looking in the future. We can also bring in information into these dashboards from other third-party tools that you'll use. And as you can see, there's a very lengthy list of third-party tools. And these are all the most common tools that people in and around construction globally tend to be using. And this list is constantly growing. That said, there is a blank partner card. So if there's a particular tool that Autodesk haven't already created a partner card for, it's very easy for you to utilize that blank partner card to pull in that information. If that's not enough for you, we can go one step beyond through our data connector, and that is to utilize Power BI reports. The system comes with some really nice pre-configured Power BI templates, as you can see here. So we can really take that reporting to the next level. We can be very granular. This can be not only at a single project level, but across your entire project portfolio. Okay, the last thing, and I'm not going to show you anything here, but I'm going to talk to you about it because it's pretty important. Autodesk have a tool called the Autodesk Desktop Connector. Okay, it is a free tool that Autodesk provide, and Desktop Connector is a desktop service that integrates an Autodesk management source, so in this case Docs, with your desktop folder and file structure for easy file management. The files in the data source are replicated in a connected drive. You can manage files in the data source through the connected drive, just as you would any other folder on your machine. Changes made within the connected drive are automatically uploaded to the data source. So you can do things like, view and open files, upload, download files. You can create project folders and edit and delete files all directly from your local machine without the need to log into the system. So that's a really high level overview of Autodesk Docs.